Now, we've talked about this. It seems like every show we talk about this, but how they start the week, how they start the game on Wednesday, how critical is that going to be? Because you never want to get behind on the – Comets are a good road team,
right.
Best in the Turner Conference this past season. But you never want to get behind on the road, knowing you're already down 2-0.
Right, right. I think Chalk will come out flying, and I think they will too because of that. This is still Colin Chalk's team. I mean, they follow him, period. And I think Nick will be tremendously better because that's what Nick does. Nick comes back from bad performances twice as strong. I mean, he is bounce back Boucher. I mean, that's what he does. And their game plan is working. Their game plan works. So they have to stick with that. And they'll be fine.
In talking to Al after that Friday game, or in hearing from Al on Friday, he was like, one, he was extremely short, so you know he was not happy. I mean, he doesn't show the emotion, but you can tell when
there was some fire
when
there,
you get 3-word answers.
There was fire there.
There was. But he was saying the game plan has been successful. It has done what they've wanted to do. They've outshot them in that third period on Friday. They get one shot.
Yeah.
And it happened to be a pretty big one.
Yeah. Well, and how many shots has Missouri blocked? I mean, the Comets have outshot them by 30. And Missouri's probably blocked 30, 35 more, you know. I mean, so the Comets are almost outshooting them 2-1. I mean, if you think about it that way. They just got to get some to go in. And I asked Colin, I said, how do you beat this guy? He goes, you put it in the net. We're just making this guy look good. It's not that hard, you know. I mean, and he's right. He's exactly right. If they start thinking that we got to do something extra special to get it past this guy, then they're done. They can't look at it that way. They cannot afford to take that tack because then he's in their heads, and they can't afford that.
Well, you've mentioned that the Comets have certainly not given up on this series.
Oh, no.
So what do you expect in the 2, hopefully 3 games at Missouri?
Oh, I think the Comets will be, you know, the one thing that I was really impressed with was Missouri gave everything into those 2 games. I mean, I don't know, but they played exceptionally well. I wonder if they can play any better. I think the Comets can raise their level still. I think that's what they have to do. They have to commit even more to crashing the net, to sacrificing themselves, to playing together. You know, think about this. If Mike Vescovi scores that first goal where he missed high, where he brought it up from behind the net and he missed high, it's 1-0, and maybe the whole game changes. The Comets haven't had a lead yet. Maybe the whole game changes at that point. They had the lead in the second and third of game 1. I mean, and then look what happened. They outshot them 13-1. But if they do that early for once, maybe the whole thing changes. Maybe they can steal the momentum back.
Well, you're kind of feeling negative right now just because you're down 0-2. But in a positive light, why the heck did Rapid City cut Mike Vasquez? This guy has been amazing.
Well, you've seen some of it. He is a little fancy sometimes, especially going through the neutral zone, and he'll try to make a dipsy-do and then get the puck stolen.
Yeah, but he's putting the puck in the back of the net.
Oh, he's doing great, but I think that's the reasoning they got rid of him. He didn't fit. They want more grinders, I think. And so you can see why he is the perfect person to step in for Artie. I mean, he does have some of the same traits, but he's a little bit better at certain things, too.
And, you know, we mentioned last year, you know, Tom Mealy came in the amateur status, picked up late in the game, but Daniel Macchio has actually been a nice little addition for the Comets. We haven't talked too much about him. But
I don't think you'll see him back here next year. I think he'll move up, and I mean, he's got the size and the skating ability, and he's getting better each game, too, as he's getting more comfortable.
I noticed that he continues to – it seems like he's playing more minutes as he gets – I don't know if it's him getting more comfortable or he's just playing well, but he's been a nice addition to this team.
Yeah, he's been fine. He's been – I can't imagine a tougher situation. You know, you come into the conference finals, you've practiced with him for a week, you know, and then you're going to play. Oh, and you're going to play a really big game. You know, and you know that Missouri's coaches are going to try to match up their best lines against him. Why wouldn't you, you know? And, you know, he's done well.
All right, so you're making the trip, making the 9.5-hour drive to Kansas City. Talk a little bit about what the atmosphere, obviously we haven't been there before, but everything that I've heard about and talked to some of the guys down there, they say this is a team that's well supported, even though it's in a big city, Kansas City. What do you see as some advantages that this team might have on the road?
Meaning the Comets might
The
have
Comets
on.
might have on the
Well,
road.
for one thing, their success on the road. For the other thing, Nick has been known forever as a road goaltender. I mean, he's a money goalie on the road. He's also big game Bush. He always comes through in the biggest playoff games. When you think he's down and dead, he's a battler, like he says. He will fight you tooth and nail, and he will. I have no doubt about that. I'm guessing right now he is just stewing over getting pulled, and he's going to turn that around and use that. As I said in the story, he's going to, forge his iron will into a breastplate that he's going to carry around, and there will be a chip on his shoulder, that'll be huge by Wednesday. And
So he's going to go get medieval.
Oh,
on him.
yes, you better believe it.
Final question, prediction time. How do you see this series playing out given the 0-2 start? Or is this extremely difficult to predict because you just don't know what you're going to get?
Well, think about it. I said the Comets in 6 games at the beginning.
I guess you could still do it.
I still could, yes. And I look at how they played the first 2 games. They thoroughly outplayed them. Although Missouri's really good, too. They're really smart, and they're very fast, and they're very optimistic. They're very well coached. So
I would say they seem to play a better brand of hockey than Rapid City.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I still think the Comets can come back because of what they went through in Rapid City. They won 2 games in Rapid City, which I still think is the hardest place for the Comets to play because of the animosity and the arch rivalry and all of that and everything else that happened up there. They don't have those disadvantages going into Missouri per se. They got Charlie Effinger to beat, which is pretty darn good, But they could do it. Like I said, if anybody was in the locker room after the game and heard Colin going off, and saw the passion in Al Sims' eyes, they haven't given up at all.
They have not, and hopefully we're talking Inside the Zone Comet Hockey Games 6 and 7 when we join you next week. But for now, we'll just kind of keep our fingers crossed as you cover the games in hopefully 3 games over outside of Kansas City. But for now, he's Blake, I'm Glenn, and we'll see you next week.